Good afternoon. My name is Guy Kawasaki, and I am a resident of Silicon Valley. I have a sort of long history. I'm pretty old. Many of you may know of me from this context. So I was Apple's second software evangelist. So I am here today to talk to you about the art of evangelism. It's something that I learned in the Macintosh division, as well as an entrepreneur and as a chief evangelist of Canva. So these are the skills that I would like to pass on to you so that you can, in the words of Steve Jobs, dent the universe, make the world a better place. For those of you who have seen a lot of high-tech speakers, I think you'll relate to this. There are two fundamental qualities of most high-tech speakers. First, almost all of them suck. And second, almost all of them go long. And that is a deadly combination. You know, if you suck and you go long, wow. If you suck and you're short, okay. If you're great and you're long, okay. But sucking and going long, bad combination, double whammy. And so what I do is I use a top 10 format for my speeches. So I have 10 key points for you. So in case you think I suck, you know approximately how much longer I'll suck because I have exactly 10 points for you, okay? So point number one, and I think this is the key to marketing and engineering and therefore evangelism. By the way, evangelism comes from Greek terminology or Greek words meaning bringing the good news. So as a Macintosh evangelist, as a Canva evangelist, I was bringing the good news of Macintosh, or Macintosh would make people more creative and productive. Canva enables you to create great graphics. And so by bringing the good news, I learned that this is the most important concept in marketing. If you can get this concept, game over. It's all you need. So it is a 2x2 matrix. The horizontal axis is the value of your product. The vertical axis is the uniqueness or degree of differentiation of your product. So we'll go through all four corners. On the bottom right-hand corner, that's where you have something that's valuable, but it is not unique. So it's useful, it's just not unique. It is Michael Dell slapping the same version of Windows on the same hardware. You can make a lot of money there, but it's always about price. In the opposite corner, you have something that's truly unique, but it is not valuable. It is useless. In that corner, you are just plain stupid. In the bottom left-hand corner, you are stupid, and it's crowded with other stupid people. That bottom left corner, I like to cite the .com days, in particular, pets.com. So pets.com, let's reminisce about pets.com. In pets.com, you would buy dog food online. And the sort of proposition of pets.com was that now we can sell you direct, we can eliminate the retail distribution channel, discount dog food. So yes, you discount dog food, but then you have to add back shipping and handling. So the reason why pets.com wasn't that valuable is because, yes, you discounted it at the top line, but then you had to add back shipping and handling because you had to get the dead cow in the can to the dog food, to the dog owner. And also, somebody had to be at home when UPS dropped off the dead cow in the can. If you weren't there, it left you a little tag that said, we attempted to drop off the dead cow in the can. No one was home. We're going to attempt to drop off the dead cow in the can tomorrow. If no one's home again, we're going to send the dead cow in the can back to the factory. So it was inconvenient and just as expensive. Why was pets.com in such a crowded market? It's because people in Silicon Valley, like me, fell for this pitch. Never use a pitch along these lines, okay? There are 300 million Americans. 1 in 4 owns a dog. 75 million dogs. Each dog eats 2 cans of dog food per day. Total addressable market of 150 million cans of dog food per day. And dog food is not a B2B business. It's not a 5-day-a-week business, Monday through Friday. Dogs eat every day. We're talking B2C, or more accurately, B2D. Dogs eat every day. So you take 150 million cans of dog food per day. How hard could it be to get 1% of that with my rock star programmer co-founder? 1% of 150 million cans of dog food per day is 1.5 million cans of dog food per day times 365. We're talking 500 or 600 million cans of dog food a year. That's why there was pets.com, mypets.com, epets.com, peapodpets.com, webbandpets.com. There are 16 ways to buy dog food online. But the corner you truly want to be in is in the upper right-hand corner. So whether you wear an engineering hat or a marketing hat, That's where the action is. With Canva, we're trying to create something that's powerful, easy to use, and cheap. The holy grail of creating graphics. You know, Macintosh was in that upper right-hand corner. It was the first computer that mere mortals could use. When iPod first came out, it was the only way you could get a lot of music legally and inexpensively. Breitling makes a watch called a Breitling Emergency, and if you unscrew the big knob at the 5 o'clock position, it starts broadcasting an emergency signal. That emergency signal is caught by planes. If you pull that thing out and you set this alarm off, next thing you know, Kevin Costner is in the Coast Guard helicopter in the basket coming to rescue you. That's a watch that can save your life. There are not many watches that can save your life. Mercedes makes a smart car. You know, all of us have cars that can park parallel to the curb. How many of us have cars that can park perpendicular to the curb? So I think this explains most of evangelism and marketing, which is make a product that is unique and valuable. If it's unique but not valuable, you'll always be stupid. If you are valuable but not unique, you always have to compete on price. If you're not unique and not valuable, you're just pathetic. You don't even register on the radar. This is the holy grail of evangelism, getting in the upper right-hand corner of this graph. Number two is my insight, and it took me a long time to figure this out. You have to remove all the speed bumps. I think that one of the things that gets in the way of new product adoption is that you get too close to the product and you think, oh, people won't mind doing this kind of thing. They won't mind giving you their credit card even though you're giving them a free account. They won't mind having to do all kinds of rekeying of data because our database is so great. And these kinds of speed bumps count. They are a terrible friction upon new product adoption and evangelism. A very good test for this, by the way, is not that you are willing to go through with this. It's to give it to your spouse or your parents and say, sign up for our service. See if you can do it. Remove the speed bumps. Number three is my observation that if you want to create a great company today, you have to attack the incumbents from below. For example, with Canva, fundamentally, we're competing with Adobe, right? So Adobe has Photoshop and Illustrator. And so there are two strategies. One strategy would be, you could make something that's more powerful than Photoshop, more powerful than Illustrator. That would be the go above them. I think the way to attack an incumbent is always to go from beneath them. So less powerful, simpler, cheaper, easier to use. If you attack from below, you can always move up. But if you attack from above, you cannot move down. With Macintosh, we tried to attack the IBM PC from below. We weren't trying to make a computer more powerful than the IBM PC. We were trying to make a computer more easy, more inexpensive, more fun to use. So my advice as you try to attack the incumbents is attack from below, not from above. Number four is that my observation in evangelism is that you have to learn to ignore people's titles and pedigrees. That just because they're the CIO, CMO, CTO, CXO, just because they went to, Yale in particular right now, it doesn't mean that they're competent or smart. And my observation is that the higher you go in most organizations, the thinner the air. And the thinner the air, the more difficult it is to support intelligent life. And so if you try to enter an organization from the top, inevitably you will be dealing with the dumbest people in the organization. Ignore people's titles and pedigrees. When you are trying to evangelize something, you don't care about their titles and pedigrees. All you care about is that they get it. There was no CIO or CTO in a Fortune 500 company that grokked Macintosh. It was always the graphic designer, the artist, the photographer, the slide maker, the presentation, the newsletter maker. It was all the people at the middles and the bottoms. Get in through the bottom, get in through the middle, ignore people's titles and pedigrees. Number five is you have to learn to suck up. It is a fact of life that you have to suck up. Just deal with that. Don't be proud. You have to suck up to be featured at the Play Store. You have to suck up to be featured at the Apple Store. You have to be sucking up to, get in the Start on Android program. It's a cost of doing business. Get over it. It's worth it. At one point, I was running the Apple developer channel, so I was on the opposite side of this discussion, and we would run co-marketing with developers, and you know what? We worked with the people that we liked. They had to have good products, don't get me wrong, but it was people who, wanted our help, who were nice to us. It wasn't just because they had a great product. And I learned a very humbling and important lesson that sometimes in life you just have to suck up because, man, being on the front page of an app store can make your product succeed. So get over it. Learn to suck up. Number six is to learn to niche thyself. I think many people, when they look at a company, a successful company, they sort of forget the first 20 years of the company. So you look at something like Microsoft or Apple, and you say, wow, look at Apple. They have hardware, they have software, they have applications, they have content. Look at Microsoft, they have hardware, software, gaming, they have cloud, they have everything. And so we need a grand plan. Look at Google, they have search, they have analytics, they have cars, they have, blocks of salt that's going to store energy, they have ways to count fish in fish farms, they have everything. And so there's this grand scheme. So you're two guys in a garage, two gals in a garage, a guy and a gal in a garage, and you think, we're going to be like Google and Microsoft and Apple. So someday we need an operating system, we need an app, we need hardware, we need software, we need cloud, we need e-commerce, we need the whole thing. That's not how it works. I think the way it works is you own one niche at a time. You get one niche, and then you get another niche, and then you get another niche. And one day you wake up and my God, you have achieved worldwide domination. It is not because you planned for worldwide domination. It is because, to use a bowling pin analogy, you knocked over one pin, and then another pin, and then another pin, and then you turned around and one day you had a strike. But it wasn't because you had all those pins knocked down on one ball. You took them down one at a time. A very good academic orientation for this, or explanation of this, is Crossing the Chasm by Jeffrey Moore. I highly recommend that book, Crossing the Chasm by Jeffrey Moore. The point here is niche thyself. Go after one niche, then another and another and another, and wake up and declare victory with worldwide domination. Number seven is stolen from Chairman Mao, though I fail to see how he ever implemented this, which is let 100 flowers blossom. And by this I mean, when you have innovated, when you have shipped your product, you take your best shot at positioning and branding. With Macintosh, we thought we had a spreadsheet, database, and word processing machine. Basically, we were 0 for 3 in the mid-'80s. People weren't embracing Macintosh for spreadsheet, database, or word processing. They embraced Macintosh for desktop publishing. Desktop publishing was a gift from God to Apple. It saved Apple. Without desktop publishing, there would be no Apple today. I believe in God, and one of the reasons why I believe in God is there is no other explanation for Apple's continued survival than a benevolent God. So God gave Apple PageMaker, and PageMaker created a field of flowers called desktop publishing. But you know what? We were focusing on spreadsheet, database, and word processor, not desktop publishing. A more analog example, suppose you work for Avon, the CMO of Avon, and you have this product. It's called Skin So Soft. What's the purpose of Skin So Soft? You don't need a PhD to figure this out. Skin So Soft is about beauty and hope and lusciousness and all that good aesthetic stuff. And then you find out that moms are buying Skin So Soft as an insect repellent. OMG. This was not your intent. Your positioning was not better for your children than DDT. That was not the plan. But I tell you something, you know what? If moms want to buy Skin So Soft for their children's insect repellent, hallelujah, declare victory. If people want to use Canva for things that we never intended, hallelujah, declare victory. For those of you not from Silicon Valley, let me explain something to you. The way it works in Silicon Valley is we throw a lot of things against the wall. A very few numbers stick. Then we go up to the wall and we paint the bullseye around it and we declare victory. We hit the bullseye. You can always hit the bullseye if you paint the bullseye after you see what sticks. Okay? Let 100 flowers blossom. Don't be proud. You think you have a spreadsheet database and a word processing machine? Come to find out you have a desktop publishing machine. Hallelujah. Declare victory. We intended Macintosh to be a desktop publishing machine. Let 100 flowers blossom. Number 8. Number 8 is the hardest lesson to learn for any evangelist, which is churn, baby, churn. It means that you take version 1 of your product and make it 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, 1.4, 1.5, 2.0. Oh my God. I used to think that a revolution at innovation was an event. It's not an event. It is a process. It's one of the hardest things to learn because you think you ship, and then your biggest problem will be, can you scale fast enough? A few times in my career, I would like to have that as my problem. Can we scale fast enough? Scaling fast enough is not usually the problem. The problem is usually, can we get the dogs to eat the food at all? Churn, baby, churn. It's great discipline. Number 9. Number 9 is that it is very important to build an ecosystem if you truly want to achieve success. Because an ecosystem will do things that you don't want to do, you cannot do, maybe you shouldn't even do. Imagine Android without you. Imagine iOS without the iOS developers. Imagine all the software companies without their dealers and their VARs and their consultants and all that kind of stuff. If you're a restaurant, is it just the food? Or is it also the relationship with the waiters and the waitresses, with the valet company, with the organic farms, with the totality of the community? Build an ecosystem. An ecosystem will rescue you. An ecosystem will do things that you cannot do, you should not do, you don't want to do. Part of the technical ramifications of building an ecosystem is you always have APIs and you have documentation. When Apple announced the iPhone in 2007, the first version of the iPhone was a closed architecture. You could only add functionality to the iPhone by creating Safari plugins. A year later, Apple completely reversed itself and made it possible to make native apps, and the rest is history. If we had stuck with a closed system and not had an iOS ecosystem, I think iPhone would have failed. The key is to build an ecosystem. You are part of the Android ecosystem. Also build an ecosystem for your product. Number 10. Number 10 is you have to learn to ignore naysayers. Evangelists selling dreams are always going to encounter naysayers. There are two kinds of naysayers in the world. I call them bozos, okay? There are two kinds of bozos in the world. One kind of bozo is slovenly, disgusting, pocket protector, Japanese watch, rusty car, a loser. You look at that person, you say, you are a loser. That bozo is not dangerous because only losers listen to losers. The dangerous bozo is the winner bozo. The winner bozo dresses in all black, which is, I'm afraid to say that today, but the winner bozo is rich and famous. The winner bozo is well known. And many people think that rich and famous equals smart. Rich and famous 50% of the time equals lucky, not smart. If rich and famous always parse to smart, arguably we would listen to Kanye West about constitutional law, Tom Cruise about spirituality, Kim Kardashian about how to travel in France safely. You cannot make this assumption that rich and famous equals smart. So I need to inoculate you because I think that bozosity is just like the flu. How do you fight bozosity and naysaying? You get a little bit of it in your life so that when you encounter it in your career as an entrepreneur, as an employee. When you encounter big flu, big bososity, big saying, big negativity, big stupidity, you've built up the resistance. So I have one example here for you. There's no reason why anyone would want a computer in their home. Ken Olsen, founder of DEC. Many of you are too young to know, but DEC was an extremely successful mini computer company. And so Ken Olsen was an extremely successful innovator, revolutionary. He changed the face of computing. We went from mainframe to mini because of Ken Olsen and DEC. So imagine you're Steve and Woz, Larry and Sergey, and someone says to you, you need some adult supervision. You need someone who's been there and done that. Someone who's built the hardware company, had to scale, had to, encounter all these challenges. Someone like Ken Olsen, Steve and Woz, go talk to Ken Olsen. Get him to invest. Get him to be a director. Get him to be an advisor. So let's just say you get in a elevator one day, and there he is, Ken freaking Olsen. And you say to Mr. Olsen, Mr. Olsen, we have a different vision for computing. We think that computers should be small and cheap and easy to use. Small and cheap and easy. So small, so cheap, so easy to use, Mr. Olsen, that you could have a computer in your house, Mr. Olsen. And Mr. Olsen says, son, let me tell you something. There is no reason why anyone would want a computer in their house. Let's say they wanted to balance their checkbook. They will get in their car, drive back to the office, and use Quicken running on a DEC mini computer. What's the problem? So before you ruin your life, learn COBOL or Fortran and come work for DEC. And there would be no Apple today. So I'm trying to tell you that, overcoming bososity, overcoming negativity is a big challenge because it often comes from people that you think you should respect and they know what they're doing. I'm not saying that everybody who tells you you'll fail is wrong. Frankly, most of the time they'll be right. But if you always listen to those people and never try, you will never know. And that is the worst outcome of all. There's no reason why anyone would want a computer in their home. And this is my last slide. This is my last slide because I think that this should be your mantra. This is how you should approach your life if you're an entrepreneur, an innovator in the tech business. Most of the time when you see this, it's the opposite way. Some things need to be seen to be believed. If you show me a Macintosh, if you show me an Android, if you show me iOS, if you show me Canva, if you show me Privy, when you have millions of users of all these products, that's when I'll believe it. That's not how the world works in innovation. The world works like this. If you believe in Macintosh, if you will create products for Macintosh, if you believe in Android and you'll create products for Android, if you believe in Canva and start creating graphics, if you believe in Privy and start creating a social network, because of the ecosystem, because of the installed base, because of the use of it, then it'll become true and you will truly see it. Some things need to be believed to be seen. So the art of evangelism is all about getting into that upper right-hand corner, right? You want something unique and valuable. You're going to need to suck up. Come to grips with that. You're going to need to reduce all the friction. Make it so easy to sign up. Imagine if you're an evangelist for the environment. You have the Sierra Club. You're in charge of Sierra Club membership. And you said to people, well, if you want to be an evangelist for the environment, you have to donate $10,000 or you have to chain yourself to a tree as loggers are about to cut it down. You probably won't get a lot of members. You say to someone who wants to become an evangelist for the environment, take a shorter shower. Recycle your cans and bottles and newspapers. You want to give them a slippery slope. Suck them into your cause. Just remember, okay, when all things are said and done, it is all about spreading the good news. Good news that you make people more creative, more productive, that you're denting the universe, that you're changing the world. I like to call this Guy's Golden Touch. So, Guy's Golden Touch is not whatever I touch turns to gold. Oh, God, I wish that were true. I wish that were true. Guy's Golden Touch is whatever is gold, Guy touches. So, find something great. Find something great. Reduce the friction. Learn to suck up. Get it into that upper right-hand corner. Build an ecosystem around it. Don't take negativity and change the world. And that's the art of evangelism. Thank you very much.